Hey everyone, I'm doing a joint live stream here with Callie Brown, so I'm just going to wait till she gets on and then we can start to share the screen. There she is. Bring Callie to screen.
I am here.
Yay!
Hi, Callie.
Awesome.
Kelly and Callie. I love it.
I know, both spelled different ways. You got a pretty cool name there.
Same with you. Pretty cool name, pretty cool energy.
I know. And blonde hair. So I would love to welcome Callie Brown here today talking with me. I've been following Callie for a while now and really appreciate what she is doing for women and clients and everyone in the world.
Thanks, Callie.
That's okay. We need more of you. So Callie is a clarity coach. She's also a mama to Mika and Bowen. And I've brought her here today because we would like to talk to all the mums out there about what brings mums joy. And it's something that we just spoke about because bringing ourselves joy doesn't just reflect on ourselves, but most importantly, reflects on others. So how would you like to start it, Cal?
Yeah, totally. You know, I think that when we become mothers, there's this energy of complete selflessness when we transition, and we can tend to, and I guess I'll speak for myself and my own journey as a mother and say that I found birth, I found having this tiny creature to go home with, this new body, this new way of being in the world, I found really overwhelming, and that there was a lot of expectations coming at me with who I needed to be, how I was supposed to show up, whether I was to co-sleep or not co-sleep, breastfeed or not breastfeed, and all these pressures that kind of I felt were coming at me. Yeah. And I remember someone saying to me at the time, a coach that I was seeing said to me, what's joyful for you right now? Like, what's joyful? And I started to reel off all of the, oh, well, looking at my little baby's toes and waking up in the morning and smelling his head, and it was all of these external things again that were bringing me joy. And what I realized was, she turned around, she said, yeah, but what actually brings you joy? Like, what is it that you're doing in your life for you right now that has you connect to a sense of joy within yourself?
Yeah.
Well, I probably could have told you years ago that it was sitting by a pool and reading a book or going to Bali for a week or whatever it was. But now all of a sudden, as a mother, there was a whole new getting to know myself. So I wonder if I ask that to the viewers watching right now, like, what does bring you joy? Do you know personally the things that you do on a day-to-day level that feel joyful for you, that don't involve showing up for your partner, showing up for your kids, showing up for your friends, like actually something for self that nourishes self? And what is that? Yeah. What about you, Callie? What is that for you? What brings you joy?
And I'm just going to backtrack there. I think I felt the exact same as you. Like at the start of, having kids, it was like this total overwhelming, pressure. And I think I did forget about myself 100%. And I didn't know how to be a mum. I think Bea slept on my chest for like 12 weeks because every time I put her in a bassinet, she cried. And my logic was like, well, she stops crying when I put her here. So
Same with me.
And I was like, and then she stayed in my bed for the next how many years?
Yeah.
So, what brings me joy are really simple things, and it's choosing happiness from within each day. Each simple things like taking myself for a walk down the beach, getting into bed early, laughing with my friends, and just laughing is a big one for me, choosing happiness, really basic things, because if I have that happiness, once again, I'm a happier mother and everyone else around me is happy.
Totally. And what I love hearing you say that, Kelly, is that it came really easily, those things for you. And so it shows that you're someone who is taking the time and the space to become aware in your own life and to have, oh, the sun's going over and I'm a bit dark, and take time for connection. And so I think that's a really big piece that I offer here. If you're struggling with this question and to answer this question, is to go back to the simplicity, like you said, Kel, like go back to the simplicity and actually start by just becoming aware and connected to your breath. Start there. And just allow yourself to sit still for a couple of moments and go, okay, joy, what did that feel like? What does that feel like? And then that starts to bring you to those things: laughter, connection with friends, walking on the beach, whatever it is for you. But it really starts with that seed of taking your attention back inward, because so much is asked of us as busy mums to connect outside of ourselves, to get things done and to look a certain way and to have things all, you know, like the stroller all set up and the right gear and the right meals, the Instagram meals, you know.
I've never been one to be able to do that because I just, but it is though. And, you know, that brings, you know, even a separate part, the social media pressure. And look,
Yes.
there are mums that will be probably, you know, be focusing on that all day, but that doesn't mean you have to do it, because, you know, comparing yourself is the thief of joy. It's about asking yourself, what can I do today? Or, you know, taking inspiration from what, not comparing yourself as such.
Totally. What can I do today is a beautiful place to start, because it makes it less like, and I'm sure that's a question that you ask a lot of your busy mums, is like, simply, how can we start today with the 10 minutes you have available to you? How do you want to be with that to get to where you want to go, rather than seeing where you want to go first? It's actually, how can you bring the energy of who you will be when you are that person, bring the energy of that into your today and start integrating that into your today.
Yeah, and it is. And one of the questions that
I'm going to close these blinds while we're talking. Yes.
One of the questions I get my mums to ask themselves in the morning is, what is it that I can do today? And meaning that is like, what story am I telling myself? Am I telling myself that I'm too busy? Am I telling myself that I can't do it? Am I telling myself that I'm too stressed? Because many, not even busy mums, busy humans come up with the excuse of, oh, I'm just too stressed. But really it's just created that story, and the reality is different, because we can let go of something that happened to us 3 days ago. We can let go of something that happened the week before, because the only moment we have is now. The only second that we have is now, and it is about that choice in the morning. You know what? And I'll just say this, okay? Mums, go and put a screen time recorder on your phone and work out how much time you're spending on Instagram. And you do have 6 minutes to work out. You do have 12 minutes. You do have 3 minutes to breathe. You know, that's a really important one. How do you nourish yourself? You breathe.
It's so true. It's so true. And the moment that you, I mean, the opportunity with Instagram and all of these, even going to the park, I guess, with a whole nother bunch of mothers sitting there with their kids, is the opportunity to compare ourselves. And the moment we find ourselves in that, what I call comparisonitis, where we're in that moment where we're actually sitting in comparison, then that our self-worth and the way we feel about ourselves and the motivation and the willingness to actually go and do something for ourselves just gets less and less and less. And so the opportunity to step out of that is actually looking at what you just touched on, Kelly, which is looking at becoming aware of, connecting to your own inner language. Because I could absolutely guarantee that if I asked all of your busy mums now to sit there and say, write me a list of all the places you need to do better. Write me a list of all the things you need to fix. Write me a list of all the things that you need to improve in your life. The list would be on and on and on. There'd be quiet word, and just the pen would be going, ink would be being run out all over the place.
Yeah.
But if I then asked you to get really literate with the language of love for self,
Yeah.
what do you love about you? What do you love about you as a human, as a person, your natural nature, as a mother, as a partner, as a friend?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's just silence, and it takes, because the language, the literate language, the language that has been processing for so long without awareness, is that language of I need to do better.
Yeah. And what we spoke about, before the call is what impact that has on our children. And, I experienced a bit of this when my children were younger, because I was going through, a split up, and your children are energy, they feel everything.
Yeah.
So the mother is walking around with guilt, shame, worry,
Yep.
any form of anxiety, but not being able to feel from the heart and give themselves love. The children will feel that, and that can impact kids down the line as well. So having that connection to the heart, yes,
Yes.
it's about us, but if we have the connection with the heart, our children will be impacted by that as well.
Totally. And if we want to, if there is that innate desire for us to do better and feel better, then start with the seed of love, nurturing and nourishing the seed of love, and the seed of being present for yourself as committedly, it's not even a word, but I'll say it, as committedly as you are for your kids.
Yeah.
Because you're right, it's like reverse thinking, isn't it? Because if you show up modeling that there's spaciousness, permission, and of self and self-love, if you're showing up with that, then the way you relate to your children and the presence you have for them and the connection you have with them can only be richer.
And what would you give one of your clients as a practical around that, like as an example of how they can? Because
Totally.
obviously, I've been there before and I've heard all of this, but it's like, what do we do? Do we stand in front of the mirror with our hand on our heart and say, I love me?
Yes.
What is the practical that we do?
Well, it's the simplicity piece I want to bring in again, because that's the beauty and the potency and the power of your work, Kelly, is that it makes it accessible and that it's simple and that it actually, there's potency to that. There's potency and richness to going back to the simplicity. So yes, there for some people sitting in a mirror and saying, I love you, it might have some kind of, it might. But what I often offer myself is at the end of every day, and especially if I'm feeling really, really busy and really, really stretched, I offer myself the simplicity of a moment of connection, which happens through my breath to start with. So it's literally just closing my eyes and saying to myself, where am I breathing? How does it feel? And that can be as you're breastfeeding. It can be just before you do one of your workouts, whatever it is, it's just a moment. And then the questions I lay myself down is, today I love myself for. Today I love myself for. And this isn't something I have to write down. It's literally just, I love myself for my persistence. Today I love myself for my persistence. And then today I acknowledge myself for, and today I appreciate myself for.
Yeah.
That's it. And you might not be able to come up with anything for the first 6 days you do it, or you could be faking it till you make it. But what it actually offers is a practice for you to come to self simply.
Yeah. And that's changing those neural pathways that have.
Bang
and
on.
It's quite funny, like you said before, having kids, you've got to be dedicated to change, like that. What did you say? How did you word it?
It's the biggest personal development journey we'll ever go on, is becoming a mum. So if you don't want to go on a personal development journey in this lifetime, do not become a parent.
Yeah, and it is, because you are, before kids, you don't have the emotion and the stress, and if you haven't got those coping mechanisms, and trust me, after talking to thousands of mums in the last 5 years, we are not given those coping mechanisms, and I was not given those coping mechanisms at all. And I love the idea of being a mum, but then the reality was totally different.
Yep.
And all those coping mechanisms, I had to dive in deep so that I could be on top of my health and fitness, be on top of my mental health. And look, 1 in 4, 1 in 3 mums that I talk to have some form of anxiety, some form of depression, and it's because they haven't taken the time to find out what joy or nourish their body with food and exercise. So taking a simple thing and changing those neural pathways that were created after we had children has to be, and I actually get my mums to, like, you know, put an alarm on their phone 3 times a day, just 2 minutes. What do? Breathe. And you know, I used years ago when I was going through a hard time, I used the affirmation in the morning, all the world's strength resides in me. And I would wake up and I would shut my eyes and I would breathe in and I would imagine energy from the middle of the earth coming up through my body, down through my body, and I would say, all the world's strength resides in me. And I'd start that day, and then, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, what can I let go of that's not serving me today? So if you can ask yourself the right questions, if you can take a moment to breathe, then you're doing great. It doesn't have to be about so great. You know, you're doing so great. An hour-long meditating, it's just acknowledging.
It really is. And, you know, you touched on it before, Kelly, about the fact that those first 7 years of our lives, it's pertinent for ourselves and our neuro pathways and what we're learning about ourselves and about the world and about how we choose to see the world. And a lot of us were not given the tools to create a loving language with ourselves.
Yeah.
And that is what we end up doing in our 20s after a whole lot of experimenting and a whole lot of trying to find ourselves. We then start to realize that there is a language that works for us in the way we choose to see the world. And then what happens is we have kids, and those parts that we perhaps haven't healed within ourselves or we're not given the tools for, our kids will trigger, and they will hit those little sore spots and they'll bring them right up to the surface to be loved and to be dealt with. So allowing ourselves to be joyful amongst all that is actually, it's a big challenge, you know? So simply being with and knowing ourselves actually is the greatest gift, is knowing where our loving limits are for ourselves, knowing what we're capable of in that moment. You spoke to understanding that what would help you is to kind of meditate, bring in some kind of mantra that offers you some support, and you just know that, and then you create that, and you cut out the things that you're just not capable of in that moment. Not saying they have to be cut out forever, but it's like, this is where I'm at, and I'm going to allow myself and appreciate where I'm at right now and love myself for that. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And it's just bringing you from being out here, I call it, and then coming here. And it requires an awareness of letting go of stress, you know, not verbalizing. You know, I think one thing, you know, I have practiced over, especially with children that don't sleep. Like I have had kids that don't sleep, and it will probably till like 4 or 5. And one of the key things for me was not complaining about it. So although it was what it was, I'd get up in the morning and I just get on with my day. But you know, when you wake up and you start to verbalize that, you start to stress, and then your energy goes from here to out here. So bringing positive words into the situation, whether that be affirmations, bringing breath work in to lower your cortisol and your stress, which benefits your hormones and your results. Ladies, if you're wanting a smaller belly, lower the cortisol levels. And feel amazing, because when you're number one, everyone else around you is number one.
That's right. And when you believe that you can take up space in this world and that you have permission to be where you are, be the size you are, yes, there may be things you want to change. There may be things that you're finding hard to integrate or move with, but be where you are in order to change it and shift it, because working against it and creating resistance against it is only going to hold you in a pattern of where you are. And that's especially what you're saying with the body as well, because it's only going to produce those hormones of like fight or flight. It's not going to produce those hormones that really create a consistent and sustainable change.
Yeah. And patterns also means patterns with, you know, if you've got those patterns with your inner self, you're going to have those patterns with your emotional eating. You're going to have those patterns with lack of exercise. You're going to have those patterns with the excuses, and it may be a cycle. And what I see is a major, you know, it always comes down to stress. And if a mum's happy, they generally don't emotionally eat. So, you know, although we do ask the question, do you know what brings you joy? And if any of my mums are on here who have done the Busy Mum program, you know, feel free to comment. I actually can't see any of your comments right now anyway for some reason. But if you
there's lots of beautiful comments. There's lots of beautiful things coming through. Yeah. Lots of my tribe are here too. Thank you so much for support. Crystal, Monique, Leslie, it's lovely to see you all here. Yeah. You know, I wanted to add too here, if you're not in joy right now, if you're sitting in a place that doesn't feel joyful and you're kind of looking at us and thinking, yeah, well, that's okay for you to say, you know, happy, happy, joy, joy. Really, I offer you the peace. I offer you the peace of really connecting to being happy, not to be happy. And I know this sounds really funny, but this focus in our society of happiness and getting to it, that happiness is a destination, when actually happiness is a way of being.
Yes.
And so if we can actually integrate happiness as a way of being and accepting where we are and what is being gifted to us right now in our life, then we can be happy not to be happy right now, like, and actually appreciate that you're not the fullness of where you want to be, but you can appreciate where you are.
Yeah. And that is, and it's choosing happiness. And I think some, you know, there are some mums out there that, you know, are so stressed and overwhelmed. You'll ask them how I am. Oh, you know, life's terrible. I haven't slept the night before, and this happened last week. And you know, I always try and embrace, you know, but is that real? You know, like, are you okay? You're alive.
Yes.
You've got beautiful children. You know, the real answer to that question is, I'm great. You know, and even if you're not, maybe come back later in the conversation. But we all have to realize that our energy is very powerful as well. And, you know, you don't want to be that friend that's always living. So just making that daily choice, making that awareness, choosing joy, taking the time out for you. And it doesn't have to be an hour. Like, as soon as you say friend, a lot of mums get overwhelmed and, oh, I haven't got time to do that. You know, I've got to wash. You know, it's not that. You don't need to have to worry about that time. It's about choosing and in moments of your day and minutes of your day.
Yeah, and treating yourself the way you treat your kids, treating yourself and offering yourself the same motherly love that you offer your children.
Yes.
And so turn that in on you. If this was your child coming to you with these complaints, how would you respond? And I think that's such a beautiful reminder, is to kind of turn that motherly love on ourselves.
Yeah, and if we did, we would just feel amazing. And something that I practice a lot of if I'm not feeling very good is I shut my eyes and I think of my girls hugging me, because you know, my love language is touch. I love cuddles, and to me, you know, like, my kids hugging me, and I take it to my heart, and I put that energy throughout my body. And if, you know, if I'm feeling, you know, and I cry, you know, I get stressed. I am a completely normal human being. I always choose joy and happiness.
It's so true. And it's such a beautiful reminder that you bring in all of the pieces of ourselves too, because there are many pieces of ourselves and we are dynamic. And let's be honest, we're having a human experience, right? So we are spirit or soul or whatever you want to call it, engulfed in a human body, having a human experience. And so the best we can offer ourselves is the greatest appreciation and the greatest permission to be fully human.
Oh, exactly. Although sometimes I do think I'm an alien, but anyway.
That's another live. Let's do another live on that, Kelly.
Oh,
For all other aliens, you're welcome to join.
Well, I really appreciate you coming and, you know, sharing some information with our mums. Well, it's not even information. It's so important. These tools and systems need to be used to every mother's life. And yeah, it has to be practiced each day. And yes, busy mum fitness is about, you know, fitness and exercise, but these are the things that are going to change you. These are the things that are going to impact your life. And every mother deserves happiness, health, fitness, abundance, joy, it all. And you can have it if you want it.
Oh, yeah. And you know what that is when you say that, Kelly, is you can have it when you want it. Know what you want.
Yes.
Know what you want. Know what matters to you and live from there. Don't live someone else's wants, someone else's desires. It's connect back to know what you want and live what you want.
Yes.
That's the privilege we get in the Western world. We are privileged, and we get to actually have those conversations with ourselves, and we get to really stretch ourselves as human beings and choose conscious choice, I call it, to have an intentional life. So know what you intend for your life and then start to live it one breath at a time.
Yeah. And if there are any mums out there that do or who are struggling or would like to know more about what Callie does, we'll put her details here and you can go and chat with her. You know, this is very, very powerful work, and it's not only going to change your life, but change everyone else's around you. So where can they find you, Cal? I'll put your
yeah, sure. We'll pop my link down. It's just calliebrown.com.au, and you can find me there, or you can find me at Callie Brown Coach on Facebook, and either or, just drop me a DM and I'd love to have a chat. It's all about connecting to the clarity within you. So if you sense that will help you on your journey, being more present in your body and in your life, then hit me up. I'd love to say hello.
Awesome, Cal. Well, it was great to chat, and thank you. If any of my mums have any questions, leave them down below in comments.
Yeah.
I just felt like I was on YouTube then.
Hit me down below.
Leave a comment down below.
And I just wanted to thank you for having me too, Kel, and bringing so much heart to busyness and bringing so much accessibility to us moving our bodies in one of the most tumultuous times of turning ourselves into mothers and being responsible for other human beings. So thank you for the work you're doing in bringing so much heart to the busyness of being a mum.
That's okay. Thank you. Together, we will impact others.
We sure do. Thanks, Kelly and Callie.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you soon.
Bye.